Thank you very much. Well, Margaret and friends, can I thank you for that incredibly kind Wirral reception. I'm really grateful to you. Look, I want to, first of all, add my thanks to Mr. Flanagan, the head teacher. And I also want to say that it's great to be here with Margaret Greenwood. Where is she here? With Margaret Greenwood and also your local MP, Alison McGovern. Let's hear it for both of them, please. Well, look, friends, we're less than 3 weeks away from the general election, and this is going to be your chance to ask me questions about our plans for the future of the country. But before that, I want to set out what I want to do as Prime Minister. And look, the mission of my government is going to be to build a future that really works for working people again in our country, with a recovery that reaches every part of Britain. It's why we're going to reward everyone's hard work with a higher minimum wage, an £8 minimum wage. It's why we're going to ban exploitative zero-hours contracts. It's why we're going to guarantee apprenticeships for our young people. It's why we're going to cut tuition fees from £9,000 to £6,000. And it's why we've got a rescue plan for our National Health Service. And doesn't it need it, friends? But as we seek to build that future, I want to talk today about one issue that working people need the next government to deal with, and that's immigration. And I want to talk to you today about my approach, about the next Labour government's approach, and I want to say where we stand. First of all, let me be clear. Labour got it wrong in the past. We've listened, we've learned, and we've changed. It's not prejudice to be concerned about immigration. As Prime Minister, I will always address concerns and not ignore them. As Prime Minister, I will always put working families first, and that's why we'll have proper controls and rules. Because at the heart of our programme in 2015 is working people. We believe it's only when working people succeed that Britain succeeds. And that's why I want to set out today our better plan on immigration. Now, immigration is in fact the start of my story. My parents came here to Britain to flee the horrors of the Nazis. They found a country that welcomed them and offered them the opportunity to build a new life, to start a family, to work hard and make a contribution. And you know, I wouldn't be standing here today asking the British people to elect me as their Prime Minister if it wasn't for the generosity of this extraordinary country. And I think we're a country that succeeds because of our tolerance, our decency, and our diversity. I think we're a country where people of different faiths and backgrounds rub shoulders together and build a common life. I think we're stronger when we draw on the widest range of talents, perspectives, and cultures. And I think we should be proud of that. I know immigration can benefit our country. But I also know this, that for that to happen, for people to have confidence, there have to be proper controls on immigration. We've got to have the right rules in place. And with the Labour government, we will. And I want to talk to you today about the principles that will guide us. And there are 5 principles that I want to set out. First of all, securing our borders. Secondly, restoring the principle that you contribute before you claim. Thirdly, achieving integration in our communities. Fourthly, ending the undercutting of local workers through the exploitation of migrant labour. And fifthly, rebuilding trust by only making promises we can keep and only proposing solutions that we know will work. Now, I've been very clear about the mistakes the last Labour government made. We were wrong not to ensure there were maximum transitional controls when new countries joined the EU in 2004. And let me be clear about the reason we were wrong. The reason we were wrong is that working people were seeing dramatic changes in their communities that were not properly planned or properly prepared for. We won't make that mistake in the future. We want to see longer transitional controls when new countries join the EU. But the change we need goes beyond our relationship with the European Union. We need a system of controls. We will cap the number of workers from outside the EU. We'll secure our borders with the recruitment of an additional 1,000 border staff. paid for by a small charge on some visitors to the UK, like they have in the United States. We'll introduce a new system that counts people in and out of the country, so we clamp down on illegal immigration, including those who overstay their visas. We'll introduce stronger controls to prevent those who have committed serious crimes coming here and deport those who commit crimes while they're here. Of course, because of our approach, though, we should also welcome those who make a contribution, like university students who bring in billions. And let me also say this. As we police these rules, we'll do so in a humane way. We will uphold our international obligations to offer a refuge to people fleeing persecution, which is what happened to my parents. And we'll reform the system of immigration detention. So, for example, we end indefinite detention and end detention for those who've been the victims of sexual abuse or trafficking. Britain is a tolerant country, and I want to keep it that way, and so do we all. But here's the thing we also know. Controlling immigration is not just about how many people enter the country. It's about what happens when people come here, especially to our sense of community and the common life we live together. So the next principle is restoring the traditional value of contribution in our country. It's the principle that our welfare state was founded on, a badge of citizenship, an ideal the British people rightly value, paying in before you take out. Fair rules means that entitlement to benefits should be earned. You should contribute before you claim. So with Labour, when people come here, they won't be able to claim benefits for at least the first 2 years, and we'll stop child benefit and child tax credits being claimed for children living in other countries. I'm determined in everything we do to put fairness and contribution back at the heart of our system. And you know, how we live together stretches beyond contribution. It's actually about the bonds we build between each other. Our communities are changing fast. Now, we don't cope with change by closing our doors to each other and living our lives in separate worlds. Instead, we've got to find a way as a country to live together across communities. Now, that often happens at the moment, but it needs to happen more. A Britain where people of all backgrounds, all cultures, all religions can practice their own faiths, but also come together to forge a common identity. But the thing I know from my own background is that we can only build this shared society if we speak the same language. It's what my mum and dad did when they came here. They came and learned English. It's why I believe in a simple principle that everyone in Britain should know how to speak English. And I think sometimes we've been too timid about this in the past.